So you want to know how to get your kids to listen to you, do you? It's such a common thing. It really is. I work with lots and lots of parents and lots of people who work with children as a coach and as a therapist, and I do loads of training. And one of the most common things that is said to me is that the kids don't listen. And if I ask any group of parents, what's the one thing you'd like to change or get better at? They talk about the fact that there's so often when it just seems as though their kids just don't listen to them. And it's such a common problem that I remember it really well myself. I've got 3 kids, 2 stepkids, all grown up, and I've got 9 grandchildren. When my own 3 children were small, I always thought they wouldn't listen to me. And I used to resort to doing all the things that I now know makes it worse. I just really wish I'd known all this stuff when my own kids were little. I was a teacher for a long time. I worked in education for many, many years. And then about 9 years ago, it turned out that I'd done so much training in the field of psychology and hypnotherapy, psychosensory therapy, NLP, all sorts of stuff like that. And that I thought, do you know what? This is bigger than your school. This is bigger than what you can do here. This is just stuff that everybody needs to know. Parents need to know this. To say, I wish I had. People that work with children need to know what's going on when you get these dynamics between them. So now, I'm Carole Ritchie. I'm the CEO of a company that I founded called Think Success. And I founded that company because I'm passionate about people out there knowing this stuff. People knowing why communication breaks down, why relationships break down. And a lot of it is because of the dynamics between 2 people, and each one of them in their own way causing that initial, let's call it fight or flight, because it is basically that. And if you think of this, I love these tools. I love playing with these with kids. I've given these to kids that I've worked with to show them how to demonstrate when they're feeling anxious and things like that. So if you think about starting to feel angry, anxious, annoyed, any of those things as being like this, that being the ultimate anger, and the calm and happy being like this. What happens when you're trying to persuade your young person to do what you want them to do is this. You ask them to do something and they're already doing something, or they're already engrossed in something else. So they don't want to actually do what you want them to do at that moment. It's human nature, isn't it? Supposing you're doing something you really enjoy. Supposing you're in the middle of, I don't know, let's say going for a swim. You're swimming up and down, you're really enjoying the lovely feel of the water. You get halfway across the pool and somebody says to you, we want you to go and wash up. Do you want to do it? Probably not. So you're going to get a slight reaction there because you don't want to do it. So you ask your young person to do something. They don't want to do it. So they sort of, whether it's okay mum or whatever, they don't do it, they ignore you. You're not happy about that. So the reaction that you get in your brain is a slight reaction here. Now when these things happen, the way your brain processes language changes. In fact, in full flight or fight, your brain isn't processing language properly. For good reason, you don't want it to. Fight or flight is there to save your life. If you're about to step off a curb and you see a big bus coming towards you, you don't want your brain analysing the language going on around you. You don't want your brain analysing any detail. You want your brain looking at the big pictures and listening to the big sounds so you can just jump out the way quickly. That's why that happens. So you ask your young person to do something, they start to get a little bit anxious or a little bit uncomfortable. You've got to ask them again, so you're not feeling good about that. That means you're not processing language very well either. But the other thing that happens is your voice changes. Because the way you process language changes, your voice changes. And your voice sounds slightly stressed. When you hear a slightly stressed voice, it makes you feel more stressed. So your young person is going to feel more stressed. So their brain is processing what you're saying even less. The words mean less and less and less, and the sounds you make mean more and more and more. So they're now just not doing what you say. So you get even more cross. And so it goes on. And the knock-on effect is so that in the end, this is happening. And this is when you're both at that point where you're, let's say, rubbing up against each other, when you're not actually listening to the words that each other use at all. You're just really angry. What you're doing at this point is shouting. What he's doing or she's doing at that point is misbehaving. Where you want to be is here. So you can be together. You can work together. You saying something, you asking them to do something, and them responding to it happily. Not like this, where you're not hearing each other and not using your calm voice. So what do you do instead? How do you maintain this? This, saying like this, is about you being calm. In any conflict between you and your young person, the first person that needs to calm down is you. The person that has to maintain that calm is you. You've got more chance of them being calm if you're calm. If they're calm, they're going to hear your words better. So the way to maintain calm is to be calm inside and sound like a broken record. So when you give them that request, command, whatever you want to call it, instead of your voice gradually changing and sounding more and more stressed, keep it the same. Keep it like a broken record, repeating it over and over again. Now, it's going to take them a while to use this. It's going to take them a while to get used to your change of language. Kids are really good at learning languages, and they learn to speak your language. If your language is getting more and more cross, so that in the end you're shouting, that's the language they're used to responding to. That's the language they hear. That's the language, they're the words, they're the sounds they hear when they know they've got to do something. Something really funny happened with my grandson a short while ago. My daughter, my grandson's mum, said to me, "He's murder of a morning, Mum. He just takes so long to get ready. It takes us so long to get out of the house. He just sits there and takes so long to eat his breakfast. And in the end, I'm shouting at him and we leave the house going to school unhappy with each other." So I told her all about this and told her about the broken record thing. So instead of it being, "Jensen, eat your breakfast," "Jensen, eat your breakfast. I told you, Jensen, eat your breakfast. Jensen, eat your breakfast." Keep it like a broken record. Eat your breakfast, Jensen. Eat your breakfast, Jensen. Eat your breakfast, Jensen. Jensen, eat your breakfast. Jensen, thanks for eating your breakfast, because that's the other thing. People are more likely to do something if you thank them for doing it. Okay, they're not doing it yet. They're not doing as you told them, but if you thank them for doing it, something happens in the brain that says, "Oh, I need to do this." So thanks for eating your breakfast, Jensen. And she maintained this, and in the end, apparently, she phoned me up after she dropped him off at school and said, "Mum, you've got to laugh at this. This is so weird." In the end, he said, "Mum, stop it." And she said, "Stop what?" And he said, "Stop being weird." And when I asked him afterwards what was weird about it, I said, what was going on there? What was so weird about what Mum did? And he said, "She was being weird. She was being really strange. She wasn't being like she normally is." So I said, "So what happened then? What's she normally like?" And he said, "Well, she normally shouts." And I said, "Oh, okay. So do you like that when she shouts?" And he said, "No, I don't." And I said, "So why does she get to the shout? Why do you wait to do what she asks you to do until she's shouting at you?" And he said, "Well, because that's when she means it. That's when I don't have to do anything until she shouts. I wait until she shouts because I know she's going to do that." And it was like, out of the mouths of babes, they learn your language. They learn to respond to what you do. So if you get really anxious and cross, they will wait until everybody's anxious and cross before they do anything. And then where are you? You're not happy. I had a client a short while ago. I started seeing them just before lockdown, actually, and I saw them for the first few times live in my therapy room, and then we had lockdown, and then I was seeing them on video. And this was exactly what she came to see me about. She found that their relationship was becoming really quite fraught, and neither of them were feeling quite happy anymore. He was only 7. So in the process of coaching both of them, so I observed them together, I coached them, and taught her lots of self-help things to do to help her to maintain that calm, and taught her exactly how to have them both calm and working together instead of both anxious and angry and not getting anywhere together. They're really quite happy now, and they've ended up enjoying being at home, enjoying the summer holidays, and getting on much better. I often coach people through this. I do parent training and I teach people in groups to do these things. But very often, when I get to the end of that training, people will come and ask me very individual questions, because your children are all individuals. You're all individuals. So if you want to get in touch with me for a one-to-one conversation about your own individual young person, drop me an email or give me a call. You can see that at the bottom of the screen. Or come along to one of my trainings. And there's lots more videos out there. So you'll find videos from my company, from me and my trainers, that are about maintaining that calm, dealing with challenging behaviour, dealing with difficult people. There's all sorts of things out there that my trainers, we can help you with. Looking forward to see you again. Stay safe, stay calm.